All right, hello and welcome to another edition of Lab Coat Nation Live. I'm your host and your marketing trainer, Mo. And today we are going to be talking about direct mail marketing for real estate professionals. I have personally used direct mail marketing in my business, and it has done wonders. And just over within the past year, I had the pleasure of meeting Travis Lee with 3D Mail Results as I was transitioning from or looking to transition into doing marketing training for real estate agents. I was looking for ideas, tips, strategies to help agents stand out in their marketplace. And I was at a conference and I met Travis, and he had this wonderful board of all these tricks and, I won't say gimmicks, but tools that will enable you to show up in someone's mailbox in a very unique perspective. So I wanted to bring Travis on today to educate you guys and to show you on how you can use direct mail marketing to grow your business. Just give you a little backdrop. I think I mentioned that some of you guys may have heard over time. I'm a co-owner in a tax business, and I'm in Marietta, Georgia. And direct mail marketing has been a strategic piece in terms of how I was able to grow my store. I have my store. We do anywhere between 500 to 800 tax returns. In our market, H&R Block has approached us several times to try to buy us out. And I was able to build this business by using direct mail marketing and guerrilla marketing tactics as a part of that. And so I know it works. I've done it by in my real estate career where I was buying and selling homes, fixing them up. Direct mail marketing was a key strategy for me to get in contact with people who were distressed, looking to sell, as well as trying to find tenants and renters for my property. So I wanted to bring an expert on the line and give him the opportunity to show you guys some unique creative things that will allow you to build your real estate business. So with that being said, Travis, you're still there.
I am still here, Michael. Hear you loud and clear.
All right, man. I appreciate you for coming on. Go ahead and introduce yourself to our audience, and then let's jump into it and get rolling.
Yeah, well, my name is Travis Lee. I own a company called 3D Mail, and we're based up here in the far northwest corner of the world, a suburb of Seattle, Washington. And Michael, as I told you before, as we get moving here, if there's any questions that come up, I can't see the question queue. Feel free to jump in or interject. I can get on a roll here, especially on a webinar where I don't have an audience in front of me and can see people. So if I say something that's unclear, feel free to put the brakes on and let me know, or if a question comes up. And then if the questions do come up and you want to ask, there's not a great chance, but an okay chance that I'll probably cover it. So I may just tell you, hey, we're going to get to that here in a second. But if they come up, Michael, please let me know, because like I
Will
said,
do.
once I get talking about this, I can start rolling.
Gotcha.
So, especially looking at a computer screen where I don't really it's the whole face-to-face versus over the internet stuff, right?
Gotcha.
So the same thing we face challenge in sales, right? So we're going to jump right in, and this is a question I ask when I go speak again to live audiences. So if you want to give us an answer, great. If you just want to think about it in your head, that's fine. But how many of you on this call became a realtor or got into the real estate profession because you loved marketing? Now, what typically happens is in a room full of people, hardly any hands go up, right? Hardly anybody gets into any business because they love marketing. It's kind of something you realize after you're in any business that is some people think of it as a necessary evil. Those of us who love marketing think of it as just necessary,
Mhm.
right? Um, so the bottom line here is there's a lot of things with marketing and many businesses that you're just not aware of because you're not, you just have never looked into it. So, keep an open mind as we move through this. It's going to be different. It's going to challenge some of your beliefs with direct mail and marketing in general. So my advice to you, keep an open mind, have some fun with this because this stuff is fun, and when you start implementing fun marketing in your business, you have fun clients, you have better fun times in the office when you do this kind of stuff. It kind of magnetically attracts good, nice, fun people as opposed to stodgy stick in the muds who none of us want to deal with anyway. So keep an open mind as we move through this. And it's sad but true, but in any business, great marketing and mediocre ability will oftentimes outperform great ability and mediocre marketing. Sad but true, right? The best dentists in the world don't get paid the best just because they're the best dentist. The best the speaker in the world doesn't get paid just because he's the best speaker. The best widget maker doesn't get paid the most because he's the best widget maker. It's their ability to advertise and market their abilities in those fields. So again, as we move through this, keep in mind, in any business, it all comes back to marketing. That's the biggest thing we have going on here. So on an average day, again, this is when I'm out speaking, I'd ask you to shout out numbers, but think in your own head. On the average day, how many marketing messages does the average American see? So think about a number real quick. The last number I read about a year and a half to 2 years ago was 3,800 marketing messages per day. Now, that may seem like a lot, but we're talking about marketing and advertising impressions. There are things that companies and businesses and individuals purposefully did to try to get your attention. So this isn't, you're not seeing 3,800 TV commercials and radio commercials, but think about those things. Think about the emails you get every day. Think about, if you're sitting at a desk right now, look around you and look at all the things that are available for you to look at. I'm sitting around my desk right now. I've got a coffee mug with my pens with my own logo on it. That's a marketing message.
Hey,
I've got an Acer. I'm looking at an Acer laptop here. Hey, were you there? Was
yeah,
that a question?
yeah. I got I want to make sure everyone can see your screen.
Okay.
Yeah, go if you excuse the technical difficulties. If you can click to make sure you are presenting, because I got someone that says
Let's
they
see
just
here.
see my screen. I may have accidentally clicked.
Oh, yeah, here we go. It wants to share again. Okay, so we're going to share the PowerPoint. All right. So now let me know if you can see it. It prompted me again to share it, which we had done previous to the call. Can you see that now? Can you see the big 3,800?
Can everyone see Travis's? Just click in the all right, it's saying no Facebook. All right, so give us 12 secs here to get this thing right. All right, so Travis, do you share your screen?
Let's see here. Become the presenter, share your screen. It won't let me become the presenter.
All right, I'm going to make you the presenter. And you
select something to share. Look to share your screen. Let's just share the entire screen. I am the presenter.
All right, there we go.
Open my PowerPoint again here. And now you should see a big 3,800 on the screen, hopefully.
There we go. Yep, we're good. All right.
All right, perfect. So where were we? 3,800 marketing messages is what you see, right? Now, again, you're not paying attention to all those. What's happened is there's no way you could pay attention to all those things. And so what we've done is we've put blinders on. And we'll get to a little bit more of that here in a second. So if you think about that, 3,800 messages per day, 3,800 messages per day, 365 days a year, you're going to see just a tick under 1.4 million marketing messages per day. And that's a picture of Times Square that I love, because if you look at that picture, everything on the screen is a marketing message. Some business or individual paid money to put those things up there, right? And so what happens is we have blinders on, and so think about horses when they race. They put blinders on them so all they can see is forward. We as humans have done the same thing towards a lot of marketing messages, because if you were to try to walk down Times Square there and you didn't have your proverbial blinders on and every single bright shiny object caught your attention, it would take you 5 years to walk down 2 blocks of Times Square in Manhattan. So that's what we've done. And that's kind of the message. That's what we're up against here when it comes to marketing. And we're not talking just direct mail right now. We're talking marketing in general. The biggest hurdle we have is to be open, heard, or read, seen, or listened to. And if you don't get those things accomplished, you're not going to have any success with your advertising. So how can we cut the clutter in our advertising? Well, we got the Super Bowl coming up here in about, 12, 11 days. And so the best way I know how to cut through the clutter is with a Super Bowl ad, right? How many millions of people watch the Super Bowls, and how many of them are watching just for the ads, right? So we've got an immense audience that we can reach. The only problem is they cost about $4.5 to $5 million per 30-second spot. So how does that help us as the small business owner, as the small agency owner, heck, even as a big agency owner, how is that going to help us? Sure, our home office may be able to throw a commercial up there for 30 seconds, but how is that ultimately going to help us at the local level, right? So that's what we're up against. We've got to get attention. To put it in another broader perspective, The Big Bang Theory is the most expensive TV show to advertise on network television, about $450,000 per 30-second spot. So again, if you've got $450,000 that you can throw at your advertising, then I would encourage you to look into these things because they are seen by more people in a wider audience than anywhere possible, and you will probably get results because you have the ability, you are overcoming the biggest hurdle, which is to be seen, heard, or read in marketing. So that's our number one hurdle, is to be seen, heard, or read with any kind of marketing. So I'm here to tell you that I'm going to show you how you can be remembered, how you can stand out to be the one in almost 1.4 million that they're going to remember today. So how's that sound, Michael? We good so far?
Oh yeah, that sounds great. That sounds great.
All right. So who am I? I told you I'd get into a little bit more of who I am. My name is Travis Lee. I'm co-founder and president of 3Dmail, co-founder with my father Keith, who is using this kind of direct mail for decades before we ever actually started a business. And it was in a non-direct mail business. In fact, it was a distribution business selling to small and medium-sized retail stores. So we used this kind of stuff in that business and then branched the business off from that. And so our goal here is to help businesses increase their return on investment. That's the important part here. You're going to see me harp on that. We're not concerned about response rate. We are concerned about cost to the degree of what those costs incur for us to get a positive cash flow back. So we are obsessed with return on investment, with creative, unique, and clutter-busting 3D mail products. And I will get into what 3D mail means. I promise you will have a very good visual of what we're talking about here. I do marketing strategies for clients. I have a coaching group. I do speaking. I've written a couple books, co-authored one with Dan Kennedy, and then spend the bulk of my time actually writing copy. And over the years since we started this business in, what year? 2007-ish, spring of 2007, we've helped over 7,500 business owners improve the response of their direct mail. So that's me in a nutshell. We're going to get to what this 3D mail stuff is here in a minute. So another rhetorical question for you is, according to Better Homes and Gardens, what's the first thing people do when they get home? You have an answer, Michael? Do you know what a lot of people do when they get home?
You know, unfortunately, they check the mail, and
Yeah.
unfortunately, because sometimes we find things in there that are unwanted, so it's called bills.
Yeah. That's actually a great segue into my next little story here. No, you're exactly right. We check the mail, and I don't have the stats here in front of me. Something along the lines of 98% of U.S.-based consumers get their mail every single day. 75% of Americans read their mail every single day. So 98% of them are retrieving it every day. 75% are actually reading it that same day. So there is still a lot of money to be made in the mailbox. However, just as you said, you need to show up in the right way. So when we talk about sending direct mail, so this is, Michael, very generic, not generic, very general direct mail principles here. This doesn't apply just to my 3D mail stuff, which we'll get to here in a few minutes. This applies to all your mail that you send out, whether it's a postcard, whether it's a flyer, whether it's a traditional sales letter. Doesn't matter what it is. You have to get in what we call the A pile. And Gary Halbert, actually, I credit Gary Halbert with coining the phrase A, B, and C pile mail. Gary was a direct mail and copywriting genius who passed away about 5 years ago, give or take. So I credit it to him. I don't know if he stole it from somebody and made it his own, but I credit Gary Halbert with this. He said we have what we call A, B, and C pile mail. And Michael, you alluded to the C pile mail right away, which is a lot of stuff you don't want in there, right? So that's the C pile. That's the obvious junk mail that you know you don't want. It looks like everything else you receive each day. So I'm doing a lot of work right now with a gym, a local trainer who owns a gym here in the Seattle area. And our challenge right now is all the gyms, all the weight loss people are advertising right now because it's the beginning of the year, as they should. There's rising tide type idea, right? However, they all look the same. So our challenge has been to send things that don't look the same. So instead of sending glossy postcards with great-looking models on them, which is what everybody else does, we send a postcard with like the actual women in the class, right? And with the headline, "Real Women, Real Results." That's what we're talking about, right? So we don't want to look like everything that we see every day. That's what we're talking about. And where the C pile usually gets sorted is in the trash can, right? So you've got your A pile, B pile, C piles getting put right into the trash can. There's B pile. This is what I call mail purgatory, right? This is stuff you might be interested in. So in our house, when my wife gets the mail, which she usually does get it every day, there's Valpak, right? We're looking through, is there cheap pizza we can throw at the kids one night? Is there something else we're looking for? We get a community newspaper. It's called the Voice of the Valley. We keep that. Things like that. Then it's things like you have to deal with, right? So your water bill, hopefully you're dealing with that every once in a while. A credit card statement, hopefully you're dealing with that every once in a while. And literally, like I said, I call this mail purgatory because most of us have a spot for this kind of mail, right? Whether it's at the home, whether it's at the office, you've got a spot. Maybe it's a drawer in a desk. Maybe you've got a file that you keep all this kind of stuff. But most of us keep it in a spot. Maybe it's just a stack on the kitchen counter, right? But most of us have a spot for this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But right, Michael. I mean, you
No,
and you probably have two spots. I don't know if you work out of your home or if you have an office, but even if you do work out of your home, you probably have a spot for your personal stuff and a spot for your business stuff.
Yep.
So most of us have two spots, right?
Yep.
So it just goes and it's there. It's mail purgatory. It's better than being in the C pile, but it's like, we'll get to it eventually. Okay. So what's in the A pile? Well, so the first thing that's in the A pile are test results from your doctor, right? Real brief way to illustrate this. If I go to my doctor tells me, or I go to my doctor, I'm telling my doctor I'm having health issues. My doctor tells me he's going to draw some blood. He's going to send it off to a laboratory across the country, and I've got to wait 2 weeks to get my results back via mail. Well, when I get those results back in the mail, and it's say test result enclosed from ABC Laboratories, because that's where they went, well, when am I opening that piece of mail?
That's immediate. That's 911.
That you are exactly right.
Yep.
So, admittedly an extreme example, but that's what we want to create, right? That's the urgency we want to create. So letters from Grandma, right? Grandma, God bless her, still actually writes real letters, right? So we just got with Christmas, my wife's grandma, so my kid's great grandmother is still alive, thankfully. She still sends handwritten in the mail Christmas cards, birthday cards, that kind of stuff, right? And they get opened relatively quickly. They may not get open quite as quickly as the test results, but we're getting in the house, they're going on the kitchen counter, and it's going to be probably the first thing we open when we decide it's time to look at our mail. Well, I also like to think that 3D mail ends up in the A pile. So, Michael, if that thing showed up in your mailbox, would you or would you not open that, and would you or would you not open that relatively quickly?
And that's a great question, Travis. And when you and I first met, literally that was what caught my attention. The bank bag, and there's another one that you may get into later, which is the pill bottle, is because automatically they're going to think, what hockey sticks is this? It's
Yep, you got it.
the size of it, and just the fact that it does not look like anything in that C or B pile, or to the illustration, doesn't look like anything else in the A pile either.
Yep, you're exactly right. You're absolutely right. So that's the urgency we want to create. Now, you're probably thinking to yourself, Travis, that thing probably costs a lot of money to send out. And yes, it does cost more money to send out than a flyer or a postcard or a just listed, just sold, black and white postcard, right? It costs more than those things. But we're going to talk about ways that even with the added cost, we're going to talk about ways specifically at the near the end of this call with some specific examples for you guys in the real estate world, how to make the return on investment work for it. Because remember, We don't. If we spend $5 but we get back $8, it doesn't really matter how many times we spend $5, right? If we spend $1 on a postcard and don't get back any money, or we get back 50 cents on our dollar, that's bad, right? So we're going to talk specifically about ways that you can use this type of stuff with a return on investment that can work for your business. So you're probably getting a good idea of what 3D mail is. It's mail that is length, width, and depth. Normal mail is flat. If you've been a student of direct mail for very long, if when I mentioned the name Gary Halbert, your ears perked up because you knew who Gary Halbert was. They've also called it lumpy mail. They've called it dimensional mail. Our brand is 3D mail. So if you've heard lumpy mail, you heard dimensional mail, they all mean the same thing. One of those two is copyrighted, so I can't claim one of them. So I'll let you decide which one you think that is. So in our 3D mail, we have two different kinds of products. The first thing that we have here are what are called grabbers and enclosures, and that's an envelope with something inside of it. Here's an example from Rusty Pruitt. He's an insurance agent. Don't worry, I got realtor and real estate professional examples coming up here as we get moving. So this is just to show you what we're talking about here. He's an insurance agent, has people who have home insurance but not auto insurance with them, right? So what do? We send them a little direct mail piece with a little car inside, and we tell them that we can save them money, and all they need to do is fax us a little bit of information, email it to us, call us up, and we can help them save up to 37% on their combined insurance. We first did this one about 4 years ago for Rusty, before like everybody was doing it, right? So this one did really well for a while. Then it kind of lost its luster, which is going to happen with any kind of direct mail you guys do with any kind of marketing, right? Everything works until it doesn't. So that's why you got to constantly be looking for new fun ideas like this. So that's a grabber and enclosure, something in an envelope with something inside of it. Here's a shamrock we did. This was a St. Patrick's Day promotion we did for a mattress and furniture store in the Philadelphia area. We sent this out, I think St. Patrick's Day of 2014, if I'm not mistaken. So that's grabbers and enclosures, something inside the envelope, which is, right, you know, curiosity killed the cat, we got to know what's inside. Then we have what we call a self-mailing 3D mail piece. And again, I have examples of all these in your business, guys, so hold tight. Mini trash can. This is something we literally put a postage meter on, a postage stamp on, put a mailing label on, we tape down the lid, and the recipient gets a trash can in the mail. I'll show you how to use this one in your business. We have a message in a bottle. Again, what we do here, we roll up the letter, we stick it inside, we put a postage label on the outside, a postage stamp on the outside, and we literally drop this in the mail, and your recipient will get this just as you see it there. We put, we do that little pirate patch in there. That's something we added. That's not something that you have to do. The bottom comes off on this, so you're not sticking those little cork things in there. The bottom actually comes off. So you twist and pull the bottom, and out pops your letter. It's really, really kind of slick. But again, this shows up in your mailbox just like this. No box, no envelope, just like this. And then we showed the bank bag, of course. Same deal here. This thing, we put a postage label on it. We put a postage stamp on it, a mailing label on it, and we drop this thing in the mail just like that. So the bottom line here is it looks different than everything else you see in your mailbox, and you stand out from the clutter. Remember, we have 1.4 million marketing messages we're competing with every year, 3,800 a day. We have to stand out, and if we don't stand out, we're going to get lost in the clutter and be just another blip on the radar screen, which is not what we want to do. So excuse me here for a sec. I got to get a drink of water. All right. Any questions so far, Michael? Everything clear so far?
Yeah, everything's clear so far. Haven't gotten any questions. Continuing to get more people joining on the call here, but no questions
Great.
so far. So, I do have one question for you, and maybe you'll talk about it a little bit later. Folks always think that direct mail marketing, in comparison to other things, such as Facebook ads, etc., they always want to pick and choose, and I really think that combining the two methods is really the way to go, with the lead being direct mail and you're trying to get people to go to Facebook, etc. So maybe we'll dive into that a little bit later on. as we get into the presentation or towards the end. But that's one thing that I did want to talk about for a second.
Yeah, and that's, I mean, we'll spend a few minutes on it right now. First off, I completely agree,
Mm-hmm.
right? So one of my favorite lines, I think, and Dan Kennedy's on the screen, so I'm almost certain I heard it from him first. But he said, and if he doesn't take credit for it, I'll take credit for it, I don't know one way to get 100 clients. I know 100 ways to get one client, right? So your marketing and advertising toolbox needs to be overflowing. It's not just one thing. Now, that's not to say one thing maybe isn't your best, and because it's the best, you stop doing all the things that are just good. That's not the case. You want to be doing all those things. The one thing I will say about direct mail is that it's the ultimate level playing field, if you will, in that I may be the biggest, baddest real estate agent in the entire county. I may own the industry. I may be able to outbid your words on Google AdWords. I may be able to force my Facebook words up to the top by outbidding you, all that kind of good stuff. However, when it comes to send stuff in the mail, I don't get all that might, all that extra money I have doesn't do me a damn bit of good, because I am still living in the same world as the post office as you are. It still costs me 49 cents to send out a postcard or whatever you send out. I can't do any better than that. Secondarily, the post office isn't changing, and nor has it changed its basic structure since Ben Franklin, which is get a letter and deliver it,
Yep.
right? Facebook and Google and those things like to change their rules, seems like daily, right? And so you're at the whim of somebody else's, what's the right word? You're at the whim of Google and Facebook and LinkedIn and whoever else online. You're at the whim of their priorities, and their priorities are to make money, not necessarily make you money, right? So now that's not to say you can't make money together. And in fact, businesses that make money together oftentimes prosper the best, right? Ford Motor Company developed the assembly line, but their assembly line is nothing without their dealers and franchises.
Absolutely.
They got wealthy together. McDonald's, wealthy together. But their objectives are different than yours in almost every regard. So that's why I like direct mail as a part of your toolbox. It's not the toolbox, but it's my objection that it probably should be a good-sized tool in your toolbox. So
absolutely.
On that little diatribe there, why to use 3D mail? I'm not going to read Dan's testimonial. It's been up there now for 5 minutes. Dan Kennedy, one of the world's best direct response copywriters, big-time advocate of direct mail. We do all kinds of stuff with Dan, directly with him and his companies and the companies that he advises with. Bill Glazier, another consultant who is actually Dan's former business partner. We do a ton of work with Bill's company, with his clients. We actually do every year we do a mailer for his chosen charity that he does pro bono work for. So he's actually, out of his own pocket, is buying some of our stuff to use in a charity, a charity that is near and dear to his heart. So why does it work? Go ahead, Michael.
I was wanting to throw this 2 cents in there because sometimes, we get introduced to personalities and we don't know exactly kind of the magnitude. Dan Kennedy, now for Dan Kennedy to work with a client, from last I heard, the minimum that he'll take is $100,000, right? Isn't that right, Travis?
Yep. So he's about $20,000 for a day of consulting, give or take, maybe 18.5 or something like that. But then to take him on, most clients, if you're being taken on as a full-time client, so weekly, monthly calls, him doing work, him writing copy for you, you're exactly right. You're looking at around a 6-figure investment to get Dan to sit down and work with you long term.
Yep, one-on-one. And then in addition to that, he holds mastermind groups and coaching groups, and I believe you've been a part of a few where folks pay as much as $30,000 just to be a part of these groups. Is that not correct?
You are absolutely correct. Right, yeah. You're right. So he is probably one of the most in-demand direct response marketing minds in the world.
Absolutely.
And Bill, not too far behind him. So these aren't guys that go about this willy-nilly. They're guys that have taught this, and more importantly, tested this in their own businesses. Right? I mean, not just putting client money on the line, putting their own money on the line. So
Absolutely.
that's kind of a big deal to me. If you're willing to put your money where your mouth is, type of stuff. So
Absolutely.
like for me, Michael, as you probably get lots of people come to me and want me to endorse things or promote things to my list, and it really starts with the first question is, do I use it? And if I don't use it, would I use it? So that's kind of little insight here. That's how I deal with it. But anyway, that's
Cool.
so direct mail. Excuse me, 3D mail. It overcomes the biggest hurdle we face for any kind of marketing, which is getting open, heard, or read. Excuse me. And keep in mind, any message that isn't opened can't be acted upon. So if we send out, and this happens, so I know if you're thinking it, boy, Travis, those postcards are so cheap to send out. But if you send out a postcard and you spend $1 a piece on it, you're probably spending less than $1 a piece, but it makes the math easy. You're spending $1 a piece and you don't get any response. You are out all dollar per piece. If, however, you spend $3, $4, $5 a piece to a much smaller segmented list, and you get a positive return on that piece, it's the whole, why would you ever leave a slot machine in Vegas if it kept going, giving you 2 quarters every time you put 1 quarter in? Maybe eventually you would say, well, why doesn't this thing give me 3 quarters? But why would you ever leave, right?
Absolutely.
So big psychological thing here, it has to be on top of the pile. This is a biggie here. Think about your big stack of mail you get every day. If you're the first thing that is open, heard, or read in that stack of mail, you've got a big psychological advantage. You are, think about it in a door-to-door salesman setting. If you're selling vacuum cleaners and you get on the block right behind the guy selling encyclopedias, that's not good, right? You don't want to be the second guy to show up at the door. You want to be the first guy to show up at the door. Well, same thing in your stack of mail. You don't want to be the 3rd thing they read or the 5th thing they read or, heaven forbid, the thing they put in their purgatory pile. You want to be the first thing they read. And that's a big advantage. So it has to be on the top. It has to be on the top, and it ensures that you're the first thing that they're going to read in that big stack of mail that day. So cost versus results. We've touched on this a little bit. Here's where I'm talking about how you can make a $5 piece of direct mail work versus a $1 piece of direct mail. So yes, 3D mail can cost more, but not always. And frankly, some of the things I'm going to show you today don't cost any more to mail than a fancy full-color brochure that I'm sure many of you have either used, are using, or have been told you need to use, all right? But again, all we're really concerned about is the return on investment. Again, if we sit at a slot machine and we put 1 quarter in and 2 quarters come out, we're not leaving the slot machine. So what I encourage you to do is start with smaller, laser-targeted mailing lists and send multiple mailings. And I'm going to show you exactly what I'm talking about with what our real estate clients are doing right now today. And so you will almost always get better results versus shotgun marketing. And when I say shotgun marketing, I'm talking about picking a neighborhood, picking a radius around your office, picking whatever, and sending a same as me, same one-size-fits-all message because that's what the direct mail guy said you should do because heck, if we do every door direct mail, we can get them delivered for 12 cents a piece.
Yep.
That's not always your best option.
And let me chime in on that too for a second here. With shotgun marketing, ultimately, in many Facebook ads that we may run, that's ultimately what you're doing. You can do Facebook ads and other pay-per-click things kind of really, really cheap. But the reason why you get it really cheap is because it's ultimately a shotgun approach. And so, I'm sure Travis will get into it a little bit later. But if you spend a little bit more money and you have a laser-targeted list, then the fact that you're spending more money is negligible because you ultimately have higher results. So just wanted to throw that in there.
Yeah, and I'm glad you bring up the social media aspect of this because we're going to talk about most of our stuff is on kind of lead acquisition, so how to get a new buyer, or a new seller, or a new listing. We're going to talk a little bit about lead follow-up, not very much, but a little bit about lead follow-up. And we have some cool things I told you that direct mail needs to be part of your toolbox. There are ways to integrate your direct mail into your social media platforms. And we'll talk. I hadn't planned on talking about that, Michael, but I know clients who are doing it, so I can at least tell you what they're doing. So we'll get to that when we get to almost at the end when we talk about lead follow-up stuff.
Cool.
So what do you have to do here? The bottom line is you've got to test this, all right? Marketers, this is kind of a change in your thinking as a business owner or a realtor or a real estate professional. You've got to change your thinking in marketing, and marketing is not things that do or don't work. They are things that you test, and if they test it and they work, you continue to do it. If you test it and they don't work, you maybe tweak it a little bit, try again, maybe tweak it another time, and then if it doesn't work, you can at least say you tested it. So there are no failures, right? You guys have probably all heard this quote. I don't even know if it's true, but I think it was Thomas Edison said that I don't know 1,000. I failed to make the light bulb 1,000 times, but what I really found out is 999 ways not to make a light bulb. So we didn't think of them as failures. It was just a step in the process. So that's how you got to think about this. Any kind of marketing, test it. Test small. There's no need to be putting out tens of thousands of dollars in any of these one areas. It doesn't matter what kind of marketing it is, direct mail or not. So that's what we got to do. We want to test it. So our number one goal here is to cut through the clutter and get attention. So let's now talk about or spend our next 20 or so minutes together talking about how we can do this in your world.
Hey, Travis, we got a quick question here. Yeah, we got a quick question here. How long do you test? And so basically, how long do you test it out? Like, what's a good time frame to test a marketing piece out? And I know that's a big question, but you can give us a little bit of insight on the answer.
Yeah, well, so let's do this. Let's look at this very first example, and let's take it from the vein of this is our first time doing it, and let's test it. All right? So this works great. So we've got one of the pieces that we send out. This would be an enclosure or a grabber, and this is what we call a Guatemalan worry doll. That thing, the picture you see there is way bigger than the thing actually is. This thing is about an inch tall and about a quarter-inch thick, and what we do is we affix it to the upper right-hand part of your direct mail piece. So what we do, we print out your letter, we affix this little guy. We typically use a staple or a little glue dot or something, and so it doesn't move, and we put this to the top of the letter, and it's a worry doll. And here's what we do. So let's say we're going to go after expired listings. Let's say we're going to go that direction. So we're going to test it. We're going to go out and we're going to get a list of our expired listings, and maybe we do it. Let's say we're going to let's commit to doing this thing for a month. Let's every Monday get our list of expired listings and let's send them out this piece. In some of your markets that may be a handful every week. In some of your markets that may be hundreds a week, right? But pick something. Let's say the month of February, let's test this thing. So every Monday or the first of every week, we're going to send out these guys. And this expired listing is it says, I'm really worried about you. And now it says, it seems your current agent just isn't getting the job done, and that really worries me. Your home has been on the market now for XX days, and I just wanted to see how we could help. I just wanted you to see how we help the Johnson family, a family just like you. And then we put a testimonial from the Johnson family, which coincidentally is a family that we do business with that wasn't expired listings. We brought them on. They became clients of ours, and now we've got a great testimonial of exactly what we're doing here. So let's test this now. Let's commit to testing this for a month. Let's see if we can get the phone to ring for a month. Just to give you an idea, these little guys are going to cost you between $1 and $2 a piece to send out, depending on what you're putting inside the mail, right? So think about how many expired listings you could possibly get each month, each week. Multiply it by times $2. There's your budget. Decide if that budget is too big or too small, and then for a month, let's commit to sending out some of these things and see if we can get the phone to ring. Does that kind of answer that question, Michael?
Absolutely, it does. And with testing, again, my 2-cent opinion on it is that you do have to give it a time span to see if it works. 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, whatever your budget can afford. But here's the thing: the longer you test, the more information you'd be able to get, and also the more variables that you can include in your testing. I think Travis alluded to a little bit earlier. There's no such thing as bad marketing. The only thing that truly exists are results.
You're exactly right. You're absolutely right. So this is a inexpensive way to get in front of an expired listing, again, for $1 to $2 a piece. And these lists are available, right? I mean, you just got to go get them. So go and get it. I mean, we talked about laser segmenting your list. At $2 a piece, I would not send this to every home in your desired area, unless, of course, your desired area is small communities with $1 million homes and there's 50 of them, right? If that's where you're selling, if that's what you're selling, well, first off, I would probably tell you, don't send a piece that costs you $1. Send you a piece that costs like $8, right? To be sure that it gets open and read and looked at. But I would not tell you, hey, you got a community of 500 homes, let's send this out. That's not what I'm talking about here. We're going to talk about some other ways to do that kind of stuff, but laser target your list and your offer. We're getting expired listings in this case, and we're specifically going after them with a specific message just to them. Same thing with FSBOs, right? I'm really worried about you. Selling your home can be one of the most stressful, time-consuming, and hardest things you can do, and that's with help. I'm really worried about you going. I'm really worried about you going about this all alone. ... Then we go into our sales letter. So you'll notice a few things here, right? This isn't like world's greatest copy, right? This isn't the Shakespeare of sales copy. This is, we're using a headline. We're tying the headline to the thing that we're sending. So you'll see a theme here throughout this. The headline has the theme of what we're sending, and then right away in the very first paragraphs, we explain why they're getting the thing. We address the pain point, which is selling your home by yourself. We address why they're getting the thing that we're sending, and then we're telling them why the thing that we're sending makes sense for you to be getting from a realtor or a real estate professional or a buyer or a seller, or whatever term you want to call yourself. So that's what we're talking about here. This doesn't have to be the world's greatest copy. The better the copy, obviously, the better. But it does this doesn't have to be, in our example with Dan Kennedy, $100,000 copy. This can be $10,000 copy. This can be $100 copy, right? If you pick the right list and match up the offer and use this kind of stuff, you don't got to be Shakespeare. You can be Dr. Seuss. All right. So.
Quick question, Travis. So we got another from Elisa. She asked a question: are you testing these for your clients, or are you just recommending that your clients test these type of concepts on their own behalf?
Well, I think the question is, are we, in testing these for our clients, are you saying, are we doing these mailings for our clients?
Correct.
In some cases, yes. Yes, so in some cases, we actually will do the entire mail flow for you. You basically get us the list, we have your letter, and in the case of a FSBOs, for example, you could send us your list every Monday of your FSBOs for the week. We can print stuff, mail, put the postage on, and send them out for people, right? That's what some of our clients do. Now, this is our clients across hundreds of different industries. Mm-hmm. Some of them are also just doing it in-house, right? So they're buying the little worry doll from me, and then they're sending it out from their office that same day in some cases, right? Mm-hmm. Especially for the expired listings and that kind of stuff. I have a lot of clients who do probate listings and that kind of stuff too. Time is of the essence, so they mail it out from their own local office because they want it there the next day, right? So that's really just becomes, do you have the capacity to do it in-house, and then what is the speed variable required? You get your list of expired listings on a Monday. If you got your systems in order in your in-house for your in-house marketing, you could have it in their hands the next day if it's within your market, right? Mm-hmm. In my office, it's going to take us a day or two to process it, and then depending on where it's mailing, it's going to take another 2 to 5 days for it to arrive. So,
gotcha.
So if when time is not of the essence, when it's not the most important thing, we are oftentimes doing the mailings for our clients.
Gotcha. Cool. Yep. I think that answers the question. Thank you.
Great. If it doesn't, let me know.
Okay.
So we talked about self-mailers now. So this is an envelope. This is a self-mailing pill bottle. We again put our postage label on the outside. We put our mailing label on the outside, our postage on the outside. Sorry, I must not be awake yet. It's only 8:45 on the West Coast. So postage on the outside, mailing label on the outside, roll up our message, we put it inside this pill bottle, and we mail it just like this. So how could you use this for a FSBO? Is selling your own home making you sick? Here's your prescription. That's simple. That's our headline. And then we can go into our body copy, right? We can say things like, dear homeowner, I saw the other day that your listing came up as a for sale by owner, and again, this doesn't have to be world-beating copy. I'm kind of making this up as I go. Just wanted to let you know that this is one of the hardest things you can do, and yada yada yada. And if you ever need help, assistance, or guidance, feel free to reach out to us at Michael Oden's office, Keller Williams here in Atlanta. Whatever your call to action is. I have some clients who guarantee sale dates, who guarantee type of a time frame. Whatever your offer is, get that in there, right? So if you've got if you are one of those people who guarantee home sales or will buy the home from them or whatever you have, whatever kind of good offer you have, you want to put in front of them. So that's one you could use for a FSBO. Is selling your home making you sick? Here's your prescription. Here's one I love. So we talked about sending multiple pieces to a small laser-targeted list. And then what I love to do, to add a layer to that, is I love to kind of theme my mailers, right? So I'm going to back up one. There's your pill bottle. Is selling your own home making you sick? What if we theme this now, and then the next time we send them a little aspirin packet stapled to the top of the letter? Is selling your home a bigger headache than you anticipated? Take 2 of these and call me immediately, right? Dear homeowner, hopefully you remember me, Michael. I'm the guy that sent you the pill bottle in the mail last week, and now this week I sent you a little bag of aspirin. Yeah, I know it may seem silly to get things like that in the mail, but I had to make sure I got your attention. And when it comes to selling your home, I'm all business. And oh, by the way, here's 1,900 testimonials that back me up, right? You wouldn't really send 1,900 testimonials, but you get the idea, right? So I love theming these things so that I am not in the brand building business. I am not in the Nike swoosh Golden Arches business. However, if we can use direct response mail and get our message across to them in a fun, unique way, and oh, by the way, get some side branding, which in this case is, oh, Michael's the guy that cures headaches, he's the guy that makes problems go away, then that's a good thing. I'm not outright buying the branding like Nike swooshes or Golden Arches or whatever other Fortune 100 company just buys branding, but I'm getting it as a happy byproduct of my direct response, direct mail initiatives. So hopefully that makes sense.
Absolutely. Now, quick point. One of our attendees wants to know, does it work before they spend the money? And I know the answer to the question, Travis, and I think they were kind of alluding to the previous example that we had with the worry lady. Have you had clients use that mailing before, and has it worked?
Oh, absolutely. And I've got a couple clients. I will readily admit, realtors are not our biggest client base. It's just, but we have a handful that are using it very, 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 very well. And these are things that are being mailed right now, right? So this isn't theory. These are things being mailed right now. Our 2 biggest guys, I have their names in here a little later, but I'll tell you right now, our 2 biggest guys doing the best are targeting these clients are Nathan Clark in Greenville, Rhode Island, and I can never say his last name. I call him Anthony G. Anthony in Stony Point, New York. So NathanClarkTeam.com, Anthony G, like the letter G, AnthonyGRealestate.com. I think I have that second one right. Yeah, AnthonyGRealestate.com, and I have some of their exact examples coming up here in just a few minutes. But yes, these are things being put in the mail and being mailed. These are not, and not only just in real estate industry, across dozens of industries, right? One thing I like to tell people is sometimes the best ideas come from outside your industry, right? So when we have our distribution company, our best ideas, our most successful ideas didn't come from looking at other distribution companies. They came from looking at other businesses completely unrelated to us. Yeah, so this is stuff being mailed across a wide variety of industries. So,
Cool.
and I've got some, like I said, Anthony G. and Nathan Clark. I got some specific examples of them because, quite frankly, they're the guys that committed to creating a system for these things and are doing it on a weekly and monthly basis. All this stuff is great. It's great to know about it, Michael. And as you know, I know you know this.
Hmm.
Unless you implement something and test it, it doesn't do you a darn bit of good to know it.
Absolutely.
So I've got 2 shining stars, and frankly, that's because they're the 2 that have put in systems to make sure this gets done. They basically told their team, this is what we're doing, this is how it's going to get done, and you're going to do it.
There you go.
Right? So that's what marketing is all about.
Yep.
So here's another piece you could incorporate with that to a FSBO, is selling your home upset in your stomach, take 2 of these and call me immediately, and we send them little antacid tablets. Again, just fun, creative ways to show up in the mailbox. I've got, let's see, I think I've got a few more here. Well, I know I've got more than a few. Let's see, 1, 2, got about 5 or 6 more. I may go a little quick because we're getting up against 9 o'clock already. So, expired listings. We have these little pacifiers. So, sleep like a baby, knowing your home is sold in 59 days guaranteed. So, I had a client who had a home sold in guarantee, right? And his was 59 days. And so, he was very aggressive with this. He sent out a little pacifier and told them how they would sleep like a baby. Again, fun, unique stuff. This doesn't have to be, again, I told you at the very beginning, this is going to attract people to you who have a sense of humor, who like to have a little bit more fun. I gave you copy chunks that you could use to address that, which is, I know it may seem funny to get blank in the mail, but I had to be sure I got your attention. And when it comes to blank, whatever it is you're doing, this is cookie cutter copy. It doesn't matter if you're selling copy machines or homes. But when it comes to blank, I'm all business, and here's a testimonial that helps illustrate that. You wouldn't say those exact words. You'd say it more eloquently than that, but that's the bottom line. That's the script you would use. So here's another low-cost way to in the mail, but do it in a 3D way. These are what we call round-to-its. They're little wooden nickels. They're about the size of a $50, but they're made out of wood, so they're significantly lighter. This thing gets you out the door for under $1 a piece, maybe $1.20 a piece, right? So about the same cost as a real glossy, oversized postcard. So does this seem like? So we say, does it seem like your agent will only sell your home when they get around to it? And then we explain that this is around to it, and now you've gotten it, so now you can feel free to sell your home, right? So we have fun with it. Here's another one. Left stranded, we can guarantee the sale of your home at a price agreeable to you, or I'll buy it. And we send a little message in a bottle. So left stranded, that's the headline. Are you feeling left? Have you felt stranded? Are you feeling stranded? Again, we put the postage label on the outside. We put the mailing label on the outside. Again, the bottom of this one comes off. So I don't have a picture of it here. I probably should have put it in. When we print these labels for our clients, we typically put a little thing that says twist bottom to open on the label. So then they twist, and once they see that, it becomes very, very obvious that this thing is opened on the bottom. So another very, very cool piece. All right. Here's one from a client. What is his name? I'm blanking on his name right now. Oh, Jay Kinder. Kinder Reese has a longtime real estate agent. Now does coaching and still has his agency. But he did this. He sent these little bank bags, farming to a lead generation list. Actually, this was his chosen neighborhood. This was Pecan Valley. This is where he wanted to own the neighborhood. And this is his exact headline and letter. So, and this is Jay Kinder. I'm going to show you how you can read about Jay's story on our website. So this Pecan Valley information you can take to the bank. Dear Pecan Valley owner, over the last few years, the real estate market here in Pecan Valley has been a bit like a roller coaster, yada, yada, yada. And that's where the letter went. And I'm going to show you how to get this exact letter here in a few minutes. But this came from Kinder Reese, Jay Kinder. So he sent this to I have lead generation list up there. I apologize, that's the wrong heading. This is a farming list. This is to his neighborhood that he farms. So this is not the first thing that he's sending these people. These people have gotten, and again, I'm not telling you that this needs to replace all your other marketing or even all your other direct mail. These are people who have gotten just listed, just sold postcards from him and have gotten stuff from him over the years. This is his neighborhood. He plants the farm. Last time I spoke to him, his exact words were, "I own this neighborhood," right? So this isn't the first thing they're getting out of the box. It's been a warmed-up list to a group, to a neighborhood, right? So total investment of $2,500, total cost per client, $3.31 per piece. Here are the results. This is the best part. You may be thinking, almost $3.50 a piece sent out a piece of direct mail. How am I going to make that work? In just 1 week, he set 4 listing appointments at an average price of $250,000, and that doesn't include what the buyers will bring after seeing our sign in the yard, yada, yada, yada. I don't need to tell you guys any of this, that every one client you get via means like this should lead to like at least one other, if not more, client through a referral, through the sign being in the yard, all that other stuff, right? That's a, again, Michael, you could teach that class 1,000 times better than I can. But that's not even taking into account what's going to happen once we get this client, right?
Yep.
Here's the deal. So they got the 4 listings. They actually charge a transaction fee of $595. That covered $2,300. So the transaction fees alone just about covered before they even took a commission, before a house was even sold. He was even on the deal, right? And so that's what we're talking about here. We're talking about lead-generated lists to very small, it's not a lead-generated list, a very targeted list with a direct mail piece that people cannot ignore. And yes, we're spending more than a flashy postcard, but I don't know that a flashy postcard would have gotten us 4 listings and cover our costs on the front end before we ever even set foot in a house, essentially. So that's what we're talking about here.
Yeah, if my math is right, and we're talking basically, he generated, depending on whatever their commission rate is in this part of the world, he generated a hefty commission by basically spending $220 and some change, right?
Basically,
Basically,
And so
$220 and some change. So I think if I had the question of does this work, I think so.
and again, the thing here to remember is he's not sending out a $3.50 piece to just anybody. I mean, this was a concerted effort, a marketing effort. He built the bulkhead, if you will. He not stemmed the tide, that's the wrong word. But it's a neighborhood that know him, and when it came time to strike, this is what he used, right? He didn't use a postcard. My guess, and I don't know the entire details of what Jay did. I only know what he reports back to me. I don't have like any work. I'm not like a consultant of his. I'm not privy to insider information. My guess is, just knowing him and how he thinks, is that he sent this thing out probably after he got a fairly good size just listed or just sold type of deal, right? He just got a, so the momentum was going type of deal, and that's probably when he decided to strike with this. Just a guess, knowing how he operates and having worked with him a little tiny bit. I just know the results that he reported back to me, which were awesome. If you want to see this, you can go to my website. You'll see it. You'll see a video from Jay right there. 3DmailResults.com/product/bank-bag. You go to 3DmailResults.com, just go to the bank bag, you'll find it. But it's there. So if you want to, you were asking one of the questions about 10 minutes ago, is people actually mailing these? Here is Jay Kinder on video telling me that he actually mailed this thing. So here's one I love. I told you I love the two-steppers. I love sending multiple pieces. Here's so now we send the trash can. I've already told you about this. Since you threw away my previous letter, I thought I would save you the effort. Then we send him a trash can. This is where Anthony G is killing it right now. He actually buys bank bags and trash cans from me, anywhere from $300 to $500 per year. I was just looked at his order history last night to be sure I had those numbers right. But he's ordering a couple hundred a few times a year. He's doing it all himself, right? So he's sending these out kind of on demand, if you will, and he's sending about 300 to 500 bank bag followed by a trash can to that lead. Then the next set of leads come in, bank bag followed by a trash can, bank bag, and they're just killing it with this. So they're doing very, very good. Let's see. I'm gonna move. Okay, good. I'm on my last couple of slides. I had a thing in here, Michael, on referrals. I think I'm going to cut it short just because we're already at an hour.
No problem.
If anybody wants the stuff on referrals, just let me know. I'll kind of briefly go over this. But here's one last example here. All the things I told you about before, FSBOs, expireds, lead-generated lists, farming a neighborhood, we have these express envelopes that are doing awesome for our clients. This is where Nathan Clark, I told you about Nathan Clark in Rhode Island, NathanClarkTeam.com. He's buying between 500 and 1,000 of these per year. So, he's mailing what? If he's doing 1,000 a year, 80 a month, right, is what he's mailing here. And he's actually sending out these cool, made to look like urgent envelopes, right? You'll notice they look like a DHL or a FedEx. What's great is these things mail at regular postage rates. So I told you before that direct mail, 3D mail, doesn't have to cost you as much as a regular piece of direct mail. This is a perfect example of that. You're going to mail this piece out for a 6x9 version, $1 a piece, $1.25 a piece. The oversized 9x12 version, which is the version that Nathan Clark is using, you're going to send those out for maybe $2.50 a piece. But again, 80 to 100 a month is all he's talking about. On the low end, 50 a month, right? And so this is kind of what it can look like. This is not Nathan's example. This is another client that we've done stuff for in the past. But you can make this thing look official if you want. If you don't want to make it look official, you can just put your sales letter in there, right? And so all the letters that we just spoke about, let's use the worry doll for example. You don't have to attach the worry doll to it, which is what's going to increase your postage rates a little bit. Send almost the exact same letter in one of these urgent envelopes. And who's not going to open that, right? So we've got to get our mail open and read. And I was talking, I'll touch on it real quick. I know we're already up against the clock here. This is now, if you're going to do lead generation follow-up, this is where now you can send out a piece of direct mail. So let's say you have a lead generated list. So these are people who have come to you over the years. They've, you've got this list of unconverted leads, which every business should have, and every business should keep track of, and every business should target. Well, now you've got this list that you want to send out to. Imagine sending out a little express envelope like this, creating a custom audience in Facebook with the emails of the people who received the express envelope, and now you can serve those people ads through your custom audience on Facebook, showing them this envelope, saying, did you get this thing? Click here to learn what it means, and that's how you can that's how you can stack marketing on top of marketing.
Excellent, excellent. No, that's yeah. That right there is when you start to develop those strategies that compound on each other, is when you really start to see your ROI and your response rate go through the roof. Targeting that small list over and over again, and when you, like you mentioned, when you can connect the offline with the online, is when you quote unquote begin to kill it, as they say.
Yeah, and that's so. We talked about a lead generated list. I am admittedly not a Facebook expert. However, I know you can geo-target on Facebook. You can basically so like our example of Jay Kinder who sent out that bank bag. Mm-hmm. If he had sent this out with today's Facebook abilities, he could have sent that bank bag out, geo-targeted an audience in Facebook, and then served Facebook ads to people who got that bank bag in the mail. Yep. With the same idea. Did you get this in the mail? A picture of the bank bag. Find out what it means here. Click here for a quick video. Click here for a free home evaluation, free home valuation, whatever. Now you can start stacking things. So I didn't get to referrals, Michael. If it's okay with you, people can get in touch with me, and I'll just send them my slides if they want. They can get this part on referrals.
Cool. That'll work.
Just email me, Travis at 3DmailResults.com. I'll send you I'll create this. I'll make these slides into a PDF and send them to you, and that way you got this last little bit on referrals. So.
Cool. That's Travis at 3DmailResults.com. I just put the email out there to chat to everyone.
Perfect.
Excellent. Now, I think we're at the end here. Travis, did that finish up on your slides?
Yeah, I've told you guys that I was going to let you know about how to get some of those letters for you. Do you mind if I give them
Absolutely.
2 minutes on how they can get those letters? Perfect. So Michael was talking about, you guys saw his video hopefully, of the big box of stuff I sent him. That's what we call our 3D Mail direct marketing system for real estate professionals. And what we've done is we've put together a couple big, huge volumes. And if hopefully you watched that video, but we put together a big volume, a big giant swipe file on the complete real estate 3D Mail success system. And so what you get here is you get a swipe file with all of these letters on a CD-ROM and in hard copy, all the examples I showed you plus a ton others. We actually put together 31 letters for you guys for FSBOs, expired listings. If you need, we actually even have letters in there for recruiting new agents, both inside and outside. If that's part of your business, it's only about 10% of the system, right? So don't think that just because you don't recruit new agents doesn't mean you can't get this thing. Referrals we talked about, lead generation follow-up, farming we've talked about a little bit. We put those things together. So you get that in a CD. You also get it in hard copies. All right, so you get that. You know, I put this a value of about $4,200. Honestly, Michael, if you were to pay a copywriter to write 31 different letters for you, it's going to cost you way more than that.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, we put these together for you with, you know, we in conjunction with our clients who are in this world. So we put together these 31 different letters. So you'll get that. You'll also get, so that's volume 1. You'll get hard copies of 31 different letters. You'll also get a CD. And the reason you want that CD is because they're all in Microsoft Word, so you don't have to like even retype these things. You go into put the CD in, pull up the letter you want to use, and literally just start typing in to change the specific stuff. The letters are completely written. You'll just need to go in and change some things. Replace the testimonial we put in there with a real testimonial, right? Take out the logo placeholder for your logo and put in your logo, right? I mean, in every case, it's really that simple.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing we're going to give you, which is what we call the complete 3D Mail How-To Kit, which is Volume 2. So you're actually going to get 3 big volumes in this, Michael, which is really cool. And so Volume 2 it goes in a lot deeper of what we talked about at the beginning today. Why to use it, how to use it, the psychology behind it. You know, we talked about with referrals, we talk about using free gifts as giveaways. We talk about that. We give you some headline ideas. If you're interested in the inner workings, the psychology, if you're someone who has to know why and not just do, right? And there's a lot. I'm personally one of those people. I have to know why something works before I'll actually do it. If that's for you, that's what Volume 2 is going to do. And then Volume 3, this is what I was talking about when I told you that oftentimes your best ideas come from outside of your industry. We actually put together a version of this as well, which has letters for all different kinds of businesses. In fact, over 207, that's actually a little outdated. We updated it recently, has over 240 different letters in all different kinds of industries. The idea is that, just like we talked about, the best ideas come from outside your industry, right? You know, Henry Ford didn't get the idea for the assembly line because another auto car maker was doing it. He saw it in a meat packing factory. McDonald's didn't get the idea from the drive-thru because Burger King was doing it. McDonald's got the idea of the drive-thru by watching drive-up banking, right? So that's the idea here, is that you want to look outside your industry and be inspired. So not only do you get that volume, you also get that on CD as well. And so what we've put together for you, we have the Volume 1, which is your direct mail marketing system for your real estate professionals. You get the 31 pre-written letters in that, hard copies as well as on a CD. That's valued around $497 if I were to sell that just on its own. Volume 2, the 3D Mail How-To Kit, which I told you about with the actual hard copy letters. Volumes 2 and 3 with the outside the industry stuff. That's valued at $491. I'm going to give this to you guys, only Lab Coat members, right? So this is legit. If you were to go to my website and look for the real estate professional version of this, it sells for $697. Occasionally we make it available for around $500 or $600. That's not very often. But Michael said I had to put something together for you guys that would knock it out of the park for everybody here. So that's only $299 plus shipping. There's no hidden memberships. There's no after X amount of days we're going to bill you another $5,000. No, there's none of that. Just $300 plus shipping. Going to cost you $315 to get this thing delivered to your door. Go to LCA, Lab Coat Agent, lca.3dmailresults.com. Do it by this Friday. I am a stickler. Nope, there, I actually had it in there, so if you don't believe me, there it is, $697 for this. So we're taking over 50% off. I don't sell anything without a guarantee, Michael. I'm skeptical if people don't guarantee their stuff because they don't. If they won't stand behind it, what does that really mean?
Mm-hmm.
So bottom line is I give you 100% money back guarantee for up to a year. You get this big box, you don't like it, I don't care why. It clashes with the shutters. It wasn't what you expected. You think I'm a snake oil salesman and I should take a hike and you want your money back. I don't care. Give it back to me. Yes, I'd love to sell 1,000 of these, but you're $300. While yes, I value you as a client, you're not going to hurt my feelings if you return it. All right, I long ago got over people returning my products. If they don't like it, that's fine. Someone's going to do it. 100% money back guaranteed for a year, just the way it is. If you don't like it, send it back. Don't care why.
Yeah.
I will do this. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, you know, in terms of, you know, my experience with you and your company, Travis's company is one of the few organizations that when I say accessibility and communication is top notch, every time I've called, not only have I gotten someone on the phone, I've gotten an email back same day from either Travis or any of his team members. And so, you know, when it comes down to you making an investment and working with Travis, either with this program or anything else that they may be able to provide via their site, I definitely give a thumbs up in terms of the quality, the customer service, et cetera. So I just wanted to throw that in there. And like I said, this is stuff that I've purchased, and I'm getting ready to run a campaign myself on. It's just sitting here in my office from Travis's company.
Well, thank you, Michael. I appreciate that. I'm going to plus this guarantee a little bit just because I don't want anything to hinder you. We'll give you a 12-month triple your money back guarantee. This one you got to do a little bit more than just call me up and tell me you want triple your money back. With this system, you're going to get a 30-minute coaching session with me, and you're going to get a critique certificate where I will critique your direct mail piece, right? If you do both of those things, and then actually that you mailed something, right? So, like, take a picture of the item you sent and, like, you know, say, hey, Travis, this is going out to 500 people or whatever. Just show me you did something. If that does not work, if you're not satisfied, up to a year, I'll give you 3 times your money back. So what does that mean, Michael? That means you can buy this thing for $300, spend $600 on a test. If you don't like it, I'll give you $900 back, and all you're out is your time to put into this effort to know that to test it. So I'm basically giving you $600 to play with if you so choose to test this stuff. So that's the bottom line. That's what it comes down to. I will give full disclosure. I've had people return my systems before, right? We've all done it. We've all get stuff when we send it back. No big deal. No one has ever taken me up on the triple my money back guarantee. It's not something I make widely available. It's usually only on calls like this, Michael, to be perfectly honest, because there's been at least some vetting process that, you know, you're going to, you know, you can't just get this on my website where a cheapskate are come and get this. You got to kind of at least show up to a webinar, show up to an event, or be vouched for by somebody. In this case, if you're on Michael's list, you've been vetted enough for me. So, so what does this all mean? What if you could just get one more closing a year? What if you got one more closing a quarter, one more a month, one more a week? You know, I don't think it's out of the ordinary to say, what's one more worth? Hopefully you get a lot more than that, but what if it's worth one more quarter, one more month, one more a week? What could that do for you? Just by segmenting your list and sending some more fun stuff. So that's all I got, Michael. The pitch portion of the training is over. Everyone can sigh a big sigh of relief knowing that they got through it. But lca.3dmailresults.com. It'll be up there till this Friday.
Cool. I'm posting the link that you gave to me as well. I'm gonna post this link on the chat just in case people want to you know, copy, paste, that kind of a thing. But if there's any questions, please feel free to ask now while we have Travis on the phone. As I mentioned before, you know, Jay Kinder, for those of you guys who don't know, obviously Travis showed the picture. You know, Jay Kinder, they have a really excellent organization, NAEA. Like, these are people that Travis has worked with, his company has worked with, that are really doing great things with direct mail. And so if it's worked for folks of that caliber, I don't see why it wouldn't work for us as real estate professionals. So that's just my 2-cent opinion on it. I'm a firm believer that if, you know, giants and people who I want to be like are using something and it works for them, then I just have to find a way for it to work for me. And that's just my opinion. So I posted the link to everyone, and if we don't have any questions, I'll open it up again. Send out Any questions to anyone while we have Travis? I apologize for going over, but I think that the amount of value that Travis was able to deliver definitely exceeded the additional minutes that we held up you guys for the call. All right, so there are no questions. Travis, I appreciate you, and I definitely welcome you to join us again in the future to talk about direct mail as the year goes on. Guys, remember, you have until Friday the 29th to jump on this deal. 299 bucks. I personally, I think it's a great investment, but you have to make that choice for yourself. So, Travis, how can folks get in contact with you? What's the phone number on your organization, as well as your email address, again, in case anyone wants to touch bases with you?
Yep, so phone number here, 888-250-1834. That's you can't miss our phone number on any of our websites, lca.3dmailresults.com. The first thing you're going to see is our phone number, 3dmailresults.com. You're going to see our phone number. And then the best email address, this will actually go to me and my team is oftentimes quicker to reply because, frankly, they're salespeople. That's what they're paid to do. So info@3dmailresults.com. info at the number 3, the letter D, mailresults.com, info@3dmailresults.com.
Cool. Well, we posted that on the chat for you guys. Travis, thank you, sir. Appreciate everything, and have a great day.
Awesome. Thank you, Michael. It was fun.
All right, guys. This is another edition of Lab Coat Nation Live, and you guys remember, today is all that you got, and go out and make it a remarkable one.